Hello everybody and welcome to the Common Running Mistakes video series. My name is Dr. Cameron Garber here with Body Smart, and we've got Preston Johnson here with Wasatch Run Club, and we are so excited to be here to share a little bit more about one of a real hot button issue type topic for me anyway, and why I didn't start running until almost in my 30s. And it's making kids hate running by using it as a punishment in sports. One of my least favorite things. And so we want to share more about that topic with you. First, we want to give a few shout outs to a couple of people that have helped make this video series possible. First off, Run for Fun. Thanks so much to them for building a great Facebook community. It's a Facebook group that helps connect runners, and so thanks so much, as well as Utah Running and Utah Running Shop. So utahrunning.com has a ton of resources and helps out there for runners, and so great thing to follow and be a part of so that you can join that running community, as well as the Utah Running Shop where I get all my shoes. And then Preston has a couple of shout outs too.
Yeah, definitely. I got a few personal sponsors that I want to thank for really supporting me in my running career. Solomon Running and Gnarly Nutrition, both great companies that have been there for me since day one. Solomon making awesome running gear for the road and the trails, and then Gnarly providing some great recovery products to enhance my recovery from training.
Yeah, super important. Okay, so this topic. For me, it is such a, I get a little worked up about it when I watch my son play basketball or other things like that, when I watch my kids play sports, and the coaches use running as a punishment for, sometimes for screwing up in sports, but sometimes just the way they use running in the sport is not designed to help them understand that they're using that to improve their performance, but they're doing it as a way to make them dread it or hate it, and it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
So did you have a similar experience as a kid?
I did, yeah. I was a soccer player growing up, and I hated running as a soccer player.
Yeah.
I was a midfielder, so I did a lot of it anyway.
Right.
But I remember at practice having to run, our specific ladders.
Yeah.
For whenever,
ladders.
We missed a penalty kick or something like that. Something as a source of motivation, I guess, to try and perform better.
Yeah. To not miss.
But,
yeah.
The bad news with this, though, is that it's probably too late for us adults and most of our viewers. But
right.
I think it's even more important the fact that, our perception of this is going to be influencing other people now.
Yeah.
As coaches, parents, friends, and role models for the kids in the community that are going through this phase right now.
Yeah. Please, if you're watching this and you have kids on teams, please share this with the coaches, this video, because I think it's really important to understand the way that we use running as a coach and as a parent can be really important in a child's overall lifetime love of fitness and exercise. Honestly, as we get out of kind of high school sports, there's really not much of an opportunity for us to participate in large measure in sports without doing some kind of endurance-based activity on our own, like running. And running really is just foundational. They've shown that running helps decrease injuries in our knees. Runners have less arthritis and fewer problems. And so running is just foundational, in my opinion, in keeping people healthy and maintaining a healthy body weight and all those things. But most people hate it. And a big part of it, especially for me as a kid growing up, was that if we screwed up in baseball, we had to go run the bases or go run around the fence or go run to that, foul ball pole, whatever. Or in basketball, it was run ladders. My son was telling me about how they make them run, they call them 17s, right? So they have to go hit the line 17 times in ladders. And they, he'll come back and be like, oh, we had to do 6 17s today. And that's just brutal.
Yeah.
And it would be fine, in my opinion, it could be fine if the way that they did it was different. Hey, little butterfly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they structure it as a negative thing, and
Right.
that's where it becomes something bad. Running is a necessary part of any training plan in any sport.
A little soundtrack.
You're doing it in the middle of your basketball game, your soccer game, your baseball game.
Right.
But the fact that we spin it as a negative thing, we're like, okay, this is a negative reinforcement for what we're doing, as opposed to something that I view in my running as something that's freeing. When I'm out running, I would describe it as freedom. The ability for myself to go out and run and be able to overcome difficulties and fatigue and these different things is an accomplishment. It shouldn't be something that we're casting this negative light on for kids. And I think that as they grow up with that negative light, they get into their adulthood and they still have those same thoughts, because their whole childhood they've been taught that running is this punishment or this tough, hard thing that is only done when you do something wrong.
Right. So if you've felt that way, if you've ever felt like you hated running because of sports or other things like that, I want you to raise your hand and let us know. So drop a comment down below, yeah, I used to hate running, or drop the word punishment. If you've ever seen that used, or that was used on you, punishment, running used as a punishment in sports. One thing that I see in the clinic a lot, is guys or gals will come in and say, I play basketball or volleyball or whatever sport that they like as my fitness. And they don't do enough running or other strength training or things like that, because in their sport that they played growing up, those things were a punishment. And so then they grew to hate that. And they think, if I just play basketball enough, then that'll keep me in shape. The problem is if you use basketball or baseball or whatever the sport is, volleyball, as your exercise instead of as your recreation that you love to do, and you exercise so that you can do it, your injury risk becomes really high. I see that with indoor soccer all the time. Women getting injured in indoor soccer, or men getting injured playing basketball. It is like the number one ACL destroyer. And it's because they never do the things like strength training and running that build up the machine to be able to tolerate the task of doing that sport. And so then they go to make a cut in basketball and their quads aren't strong enough because all they do is play basketball. And they go to make a cut, their quad and their hip doesn't control their knee properly, and there goes the ACL.
Yeah.
Right? And it's so common. And it's unfortunate, because if we, at a very foundational age and stage of life, taught kids that exercise is fun, that strengthening and running is fun to do and helpful in maintaining the machine so that you can do the things you love to do, so you can play the sports that you love, it would be a game changer. It would allow them to love being fit for fitness sake, and not make fitness something that you're doing because you need to lose weight or because it's a punishment for bad eating or something like that. When people say that, like, oh, I run so that I can eat more, I think, what a sad statement. Instead of running because I enjoy it and because it's mentally freeing and it's my drug of choice that helps me mentally and physically and everything, I think that would help. That mentality shift of participating in exercise so that I can do the things that I love to do, I think would be transformative for most people in helping them to lead that healthy, active lifestyle long term.
Yeah, so, thinking from a coach's perspective, I know you've coached a lot with basketball.
Yeah.
How would you word that or phrase that to your athletes to be able to still incorporate the running, still incorporate those things that, they may currently see as a punishment due to past experiences, to be able to help them overcome that and help them see it as something that's freeing and something that's beneficial for them, as opposed to a negative reinforcement.
Right. Use it. To me, I think the key is use it as a motivator to help them want to beat their competitor. Explain to them that running, if you can run faster or run longer, you can have that edge over your competition. Help them understand that at the end of a game or during a game when you're running full speed back and forth, because kids will run for the sport and love it and don't complain about that at all. But if you can run for the sport but help your kid understand that, hey, when you're exhausted and out of breath and you have to shoot a free throw or a PK or something like that, it's going to be harder for you to shoot that because you're going to be shaky and in the moment of the sport. And so we want you to go run some ladders so that you understand what that feels like and can shoot under control even in that environment. Then that makes that part of their training and makes it make sense to the kid. It's not a punishment, and they're not going to have to run more ladders if they miss the shot.
Yeah.
Like that type of a thing doesn't make sense because you're just punishing the kid for a skill that he doesn't yet possess rather than working on that skill with them. If that makes sense. There's a difference there in working on that skill with that child and helping them to understand why that skill is important and giving them the motivation to want to do that on their own even, versus making it a punishment where they think, man, I screwed up. I didn't do it right. And making it fear-based instead of enjoyment-based and like success-based. So instead of having success, it's they avoided fear. Instead of I achieved making my free throws even under duress. Instead, wow, I avoided those free throws. Good, thank you. And so if they do that, that's a big point that you wanted to make. Was if they do that, then if they make those free throws so they don't have to go run ladders, then you're not training them that way anyway.
Yeah, and it goes to the flip side as well, that, if you're using it as a punishment and they are missing those free throws and they're running more than you would have expected, how is that going to influence the kids and influence the training plan that you've made for them?
Yeah.
It's very common within the sport of running to know that sometimes more isn't always better. And that couldn't be more true within those other sports as well when, one practice, the kids may end up running those 17s and they may have to do it who knows how many times because of these mistakes. Well, how is that going to impact the overall training plan that you've put out there for them already?
Yeah.
It puts this random factor into there
big time
that could potentially influence your kids in a negative way as far as fitness and actually make your team less successful, even though theoretically they're doing more work. But like we said, that's not always a positive thing.
Right. You're either going to overtrain them or undertrain them. And you're putting this mental thing in their head that every time they step up to their free throw line, it adds that pressure of like, oh, I better make these, right? Or my coach will be mad or I'll get punished in some way. So you actually added pressure to that event. And free throws is kind of an easy one to pick on, but many sports do that same thing. When you're standing at the plate in baseball, if you associate getting that grounder or hitting that ball with the punishment of having to go run laps, the pressure just mounted multifold in that moment, because in your head is stuck this idea that if I don't get it, I made a mistake or I failed or I whatever, and there's a punishment associated with it.
Yep.
And so it really doesn't work as well as we might think. It actually adds to the pressure of that moment instead of decreases it. And so helping the athlete understand why you're doing the drills you're doing really helps them to understand the purpose of it and importance of it, decreases that pressure, and makes them want to do it and not hate it so much. That's one of the things that really frustrates me is when we train athletes to hate running as children. When they become adults, they have very little interest in it, and that's hard to overcome. And we've negatively impacted their health for the rest of their life. In fact, I was talking with my son the other day about a run that I went on. He's like, I don't know why you'd ever run. Like, that just seems miserable to me. I'm like, well, why is that miserable? And he's like, oh, you're out of breath the whole time and you're blah, 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 blah. And as he described what he thought running was, I thought, that's not what running is for me. Yeah. I'm not out of breath and miserable the whole time, because what they associate a wind sprint with or a ladder with is running, even though that's not what running for fitness is at all necessarily, right? If I go out and run on the road or run on the trail, I can pick my pace. I can go as fast or as slow as I want. I can make it as comfortable or as hard, depending on what my goals are. And so helping kids to understand that running will help improve their fitness, help them really be able to perform the way they want to perform, but doesn't have to be miserable. You don't have to go out and run as hard as you can the whole time. That makes running much more enjoyable and less of a punishment and less of a task, and more of something that they can do to get the edge on the other team and really improve performance and improve their enjoyment of their sport. Even if they're running around during their sport and they're not gassed. I mean, when I go play pickup basketball, I'm always blown away by how many guys are tapping out in 3 minutes or 4 minutes, and they're like, oh, sub me out. I'm like, I can run a whole basketball game the whole time, no problem. And it allows me to enjoy the sport more because I'm not out of breath. And so I think that same thing, if they could focus more on the sport because they enjoy the conditioning aspects of it, they would perform better and enjoy it more.
Yeah, and the lifelong aspects are huge for that as well.
Yeah.
When it comes to adults wanting to lose weight, stay healthy, be able to get outdoors and play with your kids or whatever it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
Be able to have that positive perspective is going to be huge.
Right.
And you got to start them while they're young with that.
Yeah.
One of the biggest concepts that lots of coaches will try to get athletes to, I guess, digest and understand is the fact that the power that your mind has over your body and what you do. And that's a topic we'll get into a little bit more in the future, with some future videos, but just understand that these subconscious ideas that we start giving people stick around for a lifetime. And honestly, it's part of my journey. I don't, like I said, if this is you, if you hated running for a while because of sports participation or just other messages, parents and others saying like, oh, I'm too much of a big guy to go run, or other things, other negative messages that we've told people. If that's been you and you had to overcome that, drop that in the comments down below. If you at one point hated running, let us know so that we can hear your story and your experience, because I think it's so universal. We get so many people with that same story. But anyway, want to thank everybody for joining us, and thanks for hopping on. We definitely have a lot more common running mistakes that we want to share with you. So thanks for joining us in this episode, and look for the next one. Thanks again for all those that made it possible for us to make these videos, and thank you, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.